Hello guys, I know you might be wondering, Stevie, where's your Hearts vlog? I did go and I did record that the game, but when I got back home the footage just wasn't usable, guys, and I'm a big believer of putting out good content. I don't want to just put something out for the sake of it, but thanks to everyone who was involved in the vlog, and I'll leave a link to Adam Kennedy, who you'll know from Pass the Mic, his podcast, Perth to Paisley. If you want to hear a Hearts perspective on the game, I will leave that in the description for you to go and listen to. But it's transfer deadline day, and with Rangers signing Aaron Ramsey, I thought that there was a perfect opportunity to do this video, particularly with the Old Firm game coming up on Wednesday night as well. It got me thinking, Stephen, what's the best combined 11 that you've seen play for the Old Firm as a neutral? Now, this is going to be a new feature on the channel where we call it a neutral view, and I'm going to be taking talking points from the week in football. And if you want to vote on what I speak about, then please subscribe to the Twitter, which you'll be seeing on screen just now. And then you'll be able to vote what we talk about each week on the channel. Let me know if you like that idea and if that is something that you would like to see. So without further ado, let's get into it, and we'll start with the formation. The formation is a 4-2-3-1, and let's kick things off with the goalkeeper. The first goalkeeper is an academy graduate of one of the Glasgow sides. I think Rangers fans, spoiler, would say that he's the best goalkeeper at the club since Andy Gorham. I don't think it can be anyone other than Alan McGregor. I think he's one of the best goalkeepers I've seen in my time watching football. I think he's a great shot stopper, commanded his area. He was the last of, I think, really a generation of maverick goalkeepers that get that bit of character about them, that are a bit mental. You get that for Alan McGregor, someone I'm sure the Rangers fans will agree is a Rangers legend. We now move on to right back. Now, these are just my opinions, guys, so feel free to leave yours in the comments, but my right back, I went for James Tavernier. Now that might even surprise some Rangers fans, and I'm sure Celtic fans will definitely have something to say about it, but I think when he's joined for Wigan, aged 23, in the summer of 2015, we were thinking, okay, that's a good signing to get Rangers back up into the Premiership, but he's went on to surpass that for me. I thought he was a bit shaky when he first arrived, but since then, I think he's grown as a player. He's tremendous going forward, his delivery is exceptional, he's deadly for a set piece, and as you know, he loves a penalty as well, and he is the man who captained the side that stopped the 10 in a row, so I think, yeah, Rangers fans will maybe be surprised, but a lot of them will agree with James Tavernier's inclusion in this lineup. I do promise that there is Celtic players in this, and we move on to one now. This is a young Dutch boy, well, he was young at the time, he joined Ferguson again. I'm sure you know who I'm talking about, he's 22. We didn't know much about him at the time, but we definitely know who he is now. He's one of the best centre backs in world football at the moment. Virgil van Dijk, absolute Rolls Royce of a defender, can play for the back, great in the air, pace, can score goals, can hit a free kick, by the way, which is something that we've not seen since he moved into England because of the wealth of talent that they have done there, but no, really good technically, really good in the air, really strong, and as I say, one of the best centre backs in the world, and someone who Celtic sold for big profit, and it's a model that I think they've adopted now as a club, and I think that signing was the catalyst for that model of signing young players for smaller fees and selling them on for a profit, and they did that with Van Dijk. They sold him for £13 million. Next we move on to the left side, the centre back. Now I have to have this guy in. He's not the best player in the team by any stretch of the imagination. I just think with the age that he joined the club and what he went on to do, he deserves a place in this squad, and it's Davy Weir. He joined Rangers from Everton, he's 37, and you're thinking, alright, he's coming here for the last 1 or 2 years of his career. He played for another 5 years, and in that time Rangers reached I think it was still the UEFA Cup final back then, in Manchester, what was now the Europa League, and he was a big part of that defence. On my left back now, I think there can only be one person who gets in at left back. He's currently playing at Arsenal and he comes through at Celtic, and by the way, before his debut at Celtic's 2 left backs at the time got injured. I believe Emilio Izagiri was one, I forget who the other one was. And Kieran Tierney was about to go on loan to my club Motherwell for the rest of the season. but they had to keep him because he had an injury crisis at left back and he made his debut and he wasn't out of the team since. I think at the minute he's one of the most promising prospects in world football. I do believe he's too good for Arsenal. Arsenal are getting stronger, but at the minute they're not winning anything. So I think he should be at a side, an elite side that's winning trophies. I really do think that he's one of the best left backs in the world, and I won't get into the debate of whether him or Robertson's better. I just think it's good to have two solid left backs for Scotland, and no, Kieran Tierney definitely deserves a place in the squad. We're on to my two holding midfielders now, and I swear, if you ever want dig in the middle of the park, the two players that I'm about to mention certainly will give you. And the first one is Barry Ferguson. I know he did play a bit further up at the start of his career before he got injured at Blackburn, and I think he moved a bit deeper, but what a player, honestly, one of the best Scottish players I think I've ever seen. There'll be the argument whether he was better than Paul McStay, but I never seen Paul McStay, so I'm obviously going to say that Barry Ferguson was a better football player. I think he's absolutely outstanding. If he never got injured in England, I think he could have went on to play for the Man United. I believe Man U went in for him at one point, but I don't think he felt the time was right to move, and he got an injury and went back to Rangers. But no, what a player, and I think it's unfair that he get called Barry sideways, because he could come up with a goal, and he did have big, and you talk about a character. Wow. We go from one character to another. Now, this inclusion is an inclusion that the Rangers fans might question, but I think Celtic fans will agree with me that we can't. Scott Brown has to be in there. He captained Celtic for the 9 in a row run. I know that Rangers fans will argue that they weren't in the league, but he's a man who was doubted time after time. Even during his time at Celtic, people were saying he's done, and then he would come back with a brilliant performance, and I think he's still showing glimpses of that at Aberdeen. I don't think you get a better midfield two holding than Scott Brown and Barry Ferguson. You would have teams beat before you were in the tunnel if that was your midfield two. People would be really nervous to come up against the two, particularly the same side. So we go on to the three behind the striker, and we will start with the right hand side. It's a guy who's still playing to this day, and I think that speaks a lot for the culture in his country, how fit he's managed to keep himself. He's a man that we didn't know a lot about when he arrived from Regina to Celtic in 2005. Shinsuke Nakamura.
Shinsuke Nakamura, you fucking dopeball.
Okay, Dad.
No, I'm only joking. Shinsuke Nakamura, what a football player. Technically one of the best I've ever seen in Scotland. Free kicks, outstanding. I mean, Celtic fans will always point to his goal. I believe it was towards the end of the season when he had it for about 35 yards against Rangers. His title winning goals against Kilmarnock, his free kicks against Man United. So he provided many a memorable moment for Celtic fans, and I'm sure even Rangers fans will agree that he deserves an inclusion in this squad. And in the middle now, I put him in the number 10, and you might argue that he didn't really play that, but I think in his time at Celtic, spoilers again, he did contribute goals, and he's someone that would have surprised a lot of people. We never knew much about him either when he did arrive in 1999 from CSKA Sofia. Stelian Petrov, brilliant player, something that people, as I say, would be like, who's this? We knew what it was all about up here when we seen it, but I think even Villa fans, when he went there, questioned why they were paying the money that they did for him at the time, and he went on to shut them up. I think he goes even down there as a club legend now. So yep, Stelian Petrov in behind the striker in this Old Firm combined 11. On the left hand side now, and we have a Rangers player. I was stuck between two Rangers players for this, and I was going to go Neil McCann, and then I was going to go Ronald de Boer, but then I think about how good this guy can be at times, and if he can find it week in week out, he's absolutely unplayable, and I have to put him in. It's Ryan Kent, arrived from Liverpool. He was initially on loan, and then Rangers managed to sign him. What a player. What a player, when he's on it, as I say, unplayable. He will go and play in the Premier League one day, and I think he'll do really well down there when he does go. Rangers fans will be glad to keep him to the end of the season, particularly with the Champions League group stage up for grabs, and I think that's why he's have signed Aaron Ramsey. We are down to the final player, striker, and Celtic fans will say that it's the best 650k that they've ever spent, but I'm going to go one further than that. I think it's the best fee under $1 million ever spent on a player in football history. There you go, that's how good I think this guy was, and you know who it is already. Hermit Larsen, one of the best strikers ever to grace the game. I don't think, and I'm sure Rangers fans will even agree, he get the credit that he deserved purely because he played in Scotland, and then he went to Barcelona, and then he went to Man United, and all of a sudden everybody was raving about him. We knew how good he was, and you see that when he went to major finals in Sweden, but there's always that snobbery in there for down south in world football, that we're just Scottish football, and we can't, and we're kind of a lesser league if you like. But I don't know about you, I think this 11 proves that Scottish football has had some great players to grace it in recent times. And what I want to know from you in the comments is who would make your combined Old Firm 11 and what would your team be? Would this side win the Premier League in England? And I believe they would, with this manager at the helm. We've got 6 Celtic players in the squad, 5 Rangers players in the squad. So we're going to end it with a Rangers manager, and he recently passed away sadly, but he's one of the greatest managers ever to grace the game. Walter Smith. What he did with the Rangers in 9 in a row side, he then went to Everton, and I don't think he gets enough credit for what he did at Everton. I think he kept them up and really stabilised that club, and allowed David Moyes to come in and transition it, if you like, but when he left it. He then went to Man United, helped Fergie, come into Scotland and saved a nation that was dying, a nation that is so passionate about football, that was dying on the international scene. He came and he revived us, and he got us going again. And then he went back to Rangers, and he wins trophies again and takes them to a European final. So no, one of the greatest ever to grace the game, up there with the other great managers who, by the way, most of them seem to be Scottish. We've got a habit of producing great managers, and Walter Smith certainly is one of them. So I believe this side could win the Premier League in England. Do you? Let me know in the comments, and let me know what you think of the idea, a neutral view, and please subscribe to the Twitter if you want to be able to give your input and vote on what we're going to talk about. Thanks guys, I'll see you in the next video.